So as soon as I see rad 3, I know we're going to be dealing with a 30, 60, 90. When I see sine, sine is opposite, okay? The opposite means I'm going with the y value. So I want the opposite to be going down because this is adjacent. This is opposite, up, no. Adjacent, opposite, up, no. So this is adjacent, opposite, down. Adjacent, opposite, down. So that's what tells me that I know that negative rad 3 is going to go right there. What's across from the rad 3? 60. 1, negative, 1, 2, 2. Now remember, we talked about reference angles. So we're going to reference the 180. Since it's past 180, it's going to be 180 plus 60, which is 240 degrees. And this is 360 minus 60 is 300 degrees. Now the good thing is the calculator will tell you one of the answers before you even do it. So inverse sine of negative rad 3, oopsies, 3 divided by 2. And it gave you negative 60, which puts you in the first quadrant. If you're not sure if I'm right, you're going to go like this, sine of 300. And it tells you negative 0.866, which is rad 3 over 2 simplified. If I tell you the sine of 240, same answer. Just like if I went negative rad 3 divided by 2. So it's all the same thing, so I'm good to go. Now in this problem, you need to be careful because not only do I want you to give me the answer in degrees, but I want it in radian. As soon as I see a rad 2, 45, 45, 90. As soon as I know that's positive, I know automatically it's in the first quadrant. 1, 1, rad 2, 45, 45. Cosine is adjacent. So it's my adjacent over hypotenuse, which makes it work. Okay. Now if it's in the first quadrant, boom, I know the first answer is 45. To put it in radian mode, I divide by 180, go into my calculator, 0.25, second PRB, so the answer is also pi over 4, or 1 pi over 4. Now, that means if I want that to be adjacent, I know automatically that this is it. So I have to go negative 1 and then rad 2, and that's adjacent over hypotenuse, which keeps it positive. Now, if that's 45 degrees, sorry this got a little bit messy, that means I'm going to reference the 360. So I'm going to go 360 minus 45 is 315 degrees. To put that in radian mode, 315 divided by 180. Second PRB. Now it's going to give me 1 3/4, which you need to know that's 7/4. You can also use the fancy calculator, and the fancy calculator will tell you the same thing. So remember to turn it into radian mode, which means you're dividing by 180. You're dividing by 180 and adding a pi. Okay, so this is the process of the ones that's going to take a while. So in this one, I want you to find the area. So I just need to make sure that these two sides are not the same as this angle. If you look, this 20 goes with D. We're good. The E goes with 30. We're good. And the 33 goes with I. So I'm just going to input those values. 1/2. It doesn't matter what I decide is A or B because I'm multiplying. And then I go sine of the angle. And I'm literally just going to plug that into my calculator. I'm too lazy to plug in this times this times this. So I know half of 20 is 10 times 30 is 300. So I'm going to plug in 300 sine 33 degrees. And I get 163. Does it say to round or anything? It doesn't. So 0.39, and it didn't give me units, so it's units squared. That's the area of it. Now remember, you could find the area of a right triangle because that's 1/2 base times height. You're finding the ones that are not right triangles. For these last two problems, these will be a workout. And what I'm asking you to do is find the missing angles and the missing side. You can either use the law of cosines or the law of sines. I feel like the law of sines is 1,000,000 times easier, but that only works if there's a match. And by a match, I mean that an angle has to match a side. So if you look, 33 with I, no match. 20 with D, no match. 30 with E, no match. So I have to use the law of cosines. Okay? So this is the angle that goes here. So what I could do, in a sense I'm finding F, I could find this C or this F right here. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write, maybe I'll make it an F just for my own sanity. I take the side I don't know, I square the two sides I do know, minus 2 times the sides that I know, cosine of 33 degrees. So remember, this 33 relates to the F. So those on the outside will relate. Now I'll simplify. 400 plus 900. 2 times 20 is 40, 1200. Cosine 33. Now I can put these two together, but I can't put it with this because that's touching there. So this is actually 1300 minus 1200. Cosine 33. Excuse me. Sorry. And that equals F squared. So now what I'm going to do, and I have to be careful because my calculator will read this as 1300 minus 1200 cosine 33. So I'm going to put that in parentheses so that my calculator knows that I'm going 1300 minus all of that. So I'm going to go 1300 minus parentheses 1200 cosine 33 end. And I get about 293.59. It's okay. I didn't perfectly estimate it this time. But now what I have to do is take the square root. So I just keep that answer, and I'm going to go second squared of my answer. And I get 17.13. So now I found the value of this side. So F equals 1713. Now, you can stick with the law of cosines, but I definitely appreciate the law of sines so much more. As soon as I see a match, I want to do the law of sines. So this is a match right here. So I'm going to use that to get the rest of them. You can continue with the law of cosines, but I think this one's easier. So I'm going to go the sine of 33 degrees over 1713 equals, and I can pick the 21st or the 31st. I'll pick the 21st. Make sure side goes with side over sine of x. Okay? So now I make an x, multiply what touches, okay, and I'm going to get 20 sine. Now, by the way, you'll have more space on your test. 33 equals 1713 sine x. So in my calculator, I'm going to go 20 sine 33. So clear it. 20 sine 33. And I get 10.8. And then I'm going to, since I'm trying to get x, I'm going to divide by 1713. So I'm going to take this value and I'm going to divide it by 1713. And I get 0.63. So now I'm left with, let me move this up here, sine of x equals about 0.63. Keep that perfect value in there. Because I'm trying to find x, I have to do the inverse. So in my calculator, I'm going to do the inverse sine of 0.63. And I'll do the inverse sine of the answer. And I get 39.49. That means, since I started with my 20, I really found D. So angle D equals 39.49 degrees. So now here's the good thing. If I know the measure of this angle, and I know the measure of this angle, then I can get the measure of E. I can get E by doing 180 minus 33 minus 39.49, because there's 180 degrees in a triangle, and that'll give me the measure of angle E. So I'll go 180 minus 33 minus 39.49, and I get 107.51. So that 107.51 is that E. So angle E equals 107.51 degrees. And now I realize it asked me to round to the nearest what? 10th. So I better read that. So that should be 0.5, and that should be 0.5. Okay? Now, I'm good to go. I could double check by going this plus this plus this, make sure it equals 180, but I think I'm fine. Let's go to the next one. They're asking me to round to the nearest 10th again. Law of sines. The law of sines means there's a match. But this goes with this, and this goes with this, and this goes with this. So some would say there isn't a match. But if you look here, I already have two of the angles. So I could get angle R by going 180 minus 97 minus 28. And then that'll give me angle R. So I'll go 180 minus 97 minus 28. 55 degrees. So angle R equals 55 degrees. So that's 55. And as soon as I see the 55, boom, I have a match. So I'm going to take... So I want to show you, it's going to be a weird stop, sorry about that. But I had done all of this work and then realized that when I was dealing with an angle, which was 55, I put the angle down here. So I did all of this work. So there's been a few interruptions, sorry about that. But what I want you to see is that because there's a match, I can do the law of sines. So I'm going to go the sine of 35 degrees over 32 equals, I'll do 28 because I feel like it, over the length of t because that's what's across from it. Make an x, multiply what touches, 32 sine 28 equals t sine 35. So in my calculator, I'm going to do 32 sine 28. 32 sine 28. And I get about 1502. I'm just writing the estimated. It doesn't matter. And then what I'm going to do is, I'll rewrite it. Now I'm going to divide by sine 35. So that value, I'm now going to divide it by sine of 32 degrees. And I get 28/34. That's the length of t, but now I have to remember that I asked you to round it to the nearest tenth, not to the nearest hundredth. So when I look here, that should actually be 28.3. So t is 28.3. Now the nice thing is, I still have that same ratio, so I'm going to transfer it over here and play the same game to get s. So I'm going to go sine of 35 over 32 equals the sine of, what's s across from? 97 over s. Make an x, multiply what touches. 32 sine of 97 equals s sine 35. Maybe I'll put that in parentheses so I don't forget. In my calculator, I'm going to go 32 sine 97. And I get that value, about 31.7, equals s sine of 35. Divide by sine of 35. Sorry, making it look like a 5. Divide by sine of 35. So I'm going to go divided by sine 35. And I get 55.4. So S is 55.4. Don't put degrees, because it's the length of a side. Okay. But what I want to show you is the mistake that I made. What I did, let me rip this off now. If you look, what I did is I put 28 for the length. And then I got all messed up. And then I realized when I got down here, it told me error. And that's because, once again, I did 97 as a length. So lengths go on the bottom, angles go on the top. Careful, and that's why I covered it up. And that's why that should be right there.